guys, this is Jed with Dawlessjammin, and today I want to be discussing the main differences between a desktop module and a keyboard synth, and why one might be better for your situation than the other. So let's check that out. So a desktop module is basically a synth without keys. It sits on your desktop, it's a lot smaller, it's a lot more portable, and they normally have the same amount of features that the keyboard version does, except without the keyboard. So why would anyone prefer a desktop module over a keyboard? There's a few reasons. One, they're normally a lot cheaper. Two, it's good if you're on a limited space. Three, they're very good if you're going to be sequencing. So let's say you have a hardware sequencer and you have a bunch of desktop modules that you can sequence from that one sequencer. All you would need is one main keyboard to sequence all those synthesizers. If you were to do that with keyboard synths, you wouldn't be able to use each keyboard on your synthesizer if you're going to be sequencing, because the MIDI in is going to have to go somewhere and there's not going to be enough spots, unless you use a MIDI box with a lot of inputs. A keyboard, on the other hand, would be good if you're a keyboard player, if you're looping, if you're playing live, if you feel comfortable playing keys. There's this guy named Luke Neptune that is the funk master. He pretty much just has a bunch of keyboards around him and he loops with the RC505, and he's a total inspiration. I'll leave his link in the description if you want to check out his stuff. I recommend that you do. So yeah, so if you're thinking about looping, I do recommend keyboard synths because it's going to be a lot easier to lay down your melody, loop it. But if you're thinking about sequencing, also if you want a smaller footprint, if you're limited on space, desktop modules are also the way to go. I feel like, me personally, I used to love desktop modules, and I still do, but ever since I went modular, it doesn't really make sense to get a bunch of little mono desktop synths, because that's what my modular is, just a bunch of little mono synths. And I feel like, me personally, I have more of a connection with an actual keyboard than I do with a desktop module, because there's always that extra step of plugging in the desktop module to the keyboard. Just any extra steps that you have to take before you get to the process of creation really become a burden, like mentally, but really there is no burden on having desktop synths. They're great, they're affordable. There's things that only come in desktop form, like the Roland Boutiques, the Tetra, which there's the Mofo X4, but they are a bit different. But if you're thinking of getting a desktop module and you were concerned that you were going to be missing out on some functionality, worry not, because they're pretty much the same thing. So it really comes down to your preference. Do you consider yourself a decent keyboard player? Do you want to be sequencing more? Are you not even going to be using all those keyboards? And things of that nature. So yeah, that's it for today, guys. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe,